I am just going to jump right in. I've been recording today the Handbook for the New Paradigm, Volume 1, and we are beginning in the event you are following along with the book on page 80 on session number 24. And it begins. It is within the scope of the information to bring through the basic framework of the underlying movement of how we may assist you to spearhead the ripples of change that will spread outward through the mass consciousness. Remember that when the pebble is first cast, the first outward ripples would seem quite inconsequential, but in the moments that follow, they move outward in ever widening circles. This process works when the waters of the pond are still. The mass consciousness is indeed mesmerized into stillness through the methodology employed by the planners of this situation. It does not include ones involved in skirmishes of war, but when the totality of the billions of beings upon the planet is considered, you must remember there are many who are not reached by the media communications and are unaware of any of this drama. Therefore, the surface of the mass conscious awareness remains quite still. This is the reason that it is imperative that we accomplish our goals to interject our changes within the individual awareness of key individuals now. It is the slow and undetectable change of thought patterns within each individual that comes into contact with this knowledge that is the underlying foundations of our building process. The talk radio programs, as well as the supporting data available on the internet, is making an impact with additional printed and visual material for those who are yet to understand the process. The wake up, who are yet to understand and process the wake up information more completely. This format is reaching countless individuals who have this within their conscious and subconscious levels of mind. Their degree of denial on the conscious level does not matter at this moment in the sequence of events. The information is there to be remembered when some item of news or event in their experience will trigger the remembering of it. The internet reaches around the planet, and the mushrooming of interest in available information is a measurement of the thirst for this knowledge and is a small indication of what is going on. Please note that had one of the talk show hosts indeed stopped his involvement, there was backup present and already in operation. Volunteers are given opportunity, but backups are standing by, not only waiting, but already in position. Ours is not a slapdash, poorly planned operation. I'm going to pause right here and say, I cannot tell you how many times I have said that I feel like I set up multiple redundancies for myself so that if this attempt to wake myself failed over here, someone else, some other situation very similar to that happens again until I finally get it. It's like a multiple sets of redundancies, and that's what this is speaking to in my view. So back to the book here. Just as the opposition has focused energy to lay their plans and to implement them, this was not unknown to us. In the observation of these, there were plans in readiness so that any possibility to end their endeavor at earlier stages was possible. Indeed, a chess game of great magnitude has been in progress for a very long time in your counting. And I want to say before I was born, and actually probably thousands upon thousands of years actually in the making. Because I quite frankly feel like Christ was one of the first, if not the main character, injection of light, right? Now we are down to the final moves. The understanding of this basic framework of the plan involves seeing your part in the initiation of this phase as being within the first pebble. To bring change to a mass consciousness involving billions of individual points of awareness by a small group of focused group awareness is indeed a tiny pebble. It is the focused aspect that makes the difference. I've said before, focus and attention is how we create. And we do that always, but we are just not conscious of what we're creating. So I'm going to read that again. It is the focused aspect that makes the difference, especially when the focus is in harmony with the underlying purpose of the creator. As that focus accompanies a larger and larger group, the pebble becomes larger and larger. Just because it has reached the surface of the pond of mass consciousness of those inhabitants of the planet, it has not yet reached the level of the surface of the pond of awareness of the planet herself. The level of awareness of Earth consciousness is a whole new ballgame, which has never been explored by the humanity in this sojourn you refer to as the current wave of planetary civilization. It was known and understood at what might be called, quote, priestly levels long ago, but the information was not disseminated, just as there are what you call beings of awareness that have transcended third dimensional experience and who are devoted to the task of assisting you in this process. So also are there foci of awareness that serve in that purpose at the planetary level. Those are fully aware of this situation and have not yet brought their influence to bear. I don't know why, but I'm being flashed something there, and it's not a fully formed. Ooh, it's not a fully formed thing. Okay, that's interesting. I'm experiencing right there as I'm being flashed a big something right there in the back of my skull. That's very interesting. I'm having a lot of that right now, actually, in differing ways. What you perceive as influences involving Earth herself are as yet just normal reactions to distorted patterns brought forth by the extreme misuse of your home base. If the action within the mass consciousness does not bring about the desired changes, then a pebble of different origin will ripple that conscious pond, and indeed there shall be movement on that level, which will not be kind to the inhabitants. Unfortunately, that level of awareness is oblivious to the individual humans, And so all shall experience and survive or not those events by their own intuition as to placement and movements within the events as they occur. It is still possible to bring about the reversal of planned misuse of the inhabitants and the planet without that level of involvement. As you can see by following the messages, there are multiple levels of involvement in this situation, and we have but barely scratched the surface. It is not planned to overwhelm you with information, but only to bring forth that which will serve your understanding that you are not abandoned, but are supported fully so that the opportunity to transcend through the cycles may be fully available. It is not necessary that all of humanity be given this information in order for them to participate at this moment in your timing. Most would not even consider it. It is for those that are open to it and find comfort in knowing that their efforts are acknowledged and supported. Most have, I'm smiling because that's one of the reasons I don't promote anything. I really don't even share my stuff around anymore. I put it out there, and if you find it, you find it. If you're drawn, you're drawn. If you're not, you're not. And that is the way it's supposed to be. Back to the book now. Most have moved on with their assignments without knowing why or how to accomplish them, but have taken advantage of opportunity and kept going because there was a knowingness that it was what they had, and that's in quotes, to do. That is courage indeed, which does not go unrecognized in the final accounting of this endeavor. I've seen lots of people, I was just sharing that with Lisa this morning. I saw a being, which I'm hoping we're going to talk about, and what he has to say, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if he really knew exactly how deep of what he is saying there is, I wonder, he may, because I've seen Tucker Carlson do the same thing, and I was speaking on Vivek Ramaswamy, so that's kind of interesting. Just got that in my field today, so very interesting. This is here, right? That is courage indeed, which does not go unrecognized in the final accounting of this endeavor. Blessings to all that read and consider this information, for it is given in the focus of love, that which is the source of this opportunity through experience. And that's the end of number 24. And I want to say, everything happens for a reason. The fact that this number 24 is stating this right after I saw that, and what he was saying there, and my very questioning about, does he really know this? I mean, how deep this is, how really, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He feels passionate about it. And it stems from that place no matter what. I feel that with all of me. So number 25, I'm just going to go right on with number 25. Now that we are beginning to reach a level of understanding of the basic format that is the foundation for your cooperative focus within the larger view, it is possible to expand into more levels of information. These are not at the physical activity level, but in the more important area of using creative thought. Inasmuch as you are a focused fragment of the Creator's awareness, it is now time for you to begin to fulfill your purpose of expanding the use of the holographic concept that has been the vehicle of your trip into the third dimensional experience. This is not a process intended to overwhelm or cause resistance within your awareness. These concepts are known to you at deeper levels and will seem quite familiar provided you relax. Follow the wording. Yeah, there's the thing right there. When we relax into ourselves, a whole lot of stuff, there's not as much resistance there, I've noticed, for me anyway. That's why I think my guidance is totally kept saying, relax into yourself, just relax into yourself. You got this. It's just, so I'm going to read this again. This is not a process intended to overwhelm or cause resistance within your awareness. These concepts are known to you at deeper levels and will seem quite familiar provided you relax and follow the wording. These will begin to stir the inner remembrance process. It is within your understanding that a fragment of a whole can, through the holographic process, depict the whole. It is through the projection of light through the fragment that the illusion of the whole from which it came is reproduced, so that the nature of the whole can be known. If this is the case, then you are a picture of the whole from which you were projected. If this is true, then how can there be diversity in what is seen all around you? Shouldn't this be a world of exact replicas? If the source of the replicated whole were limited to one focus of experience, then that would be true. Oh my God, this is explaining all one and yet singular in a way that I haven't heard before. However, if the whole of that source is multidimensional, and within its makeup holds the potentiality of multiple foci of purpose, then each projected fragment draws upon that unlimited field of possibilities. Thought provides the mobility that allows creation to flow into manifestation. Thought has the potential of thinking within and upon itself. This is another way of describing free will. Thus, these added levels of activity enable endless variety to be present. Now, if that is true, why then isn't every fragment totally different? You were created in the image and similitude of that which projected you into existence. Here, the law of attraction of similar yet different is seen at work. If that was absent, then there could be no exchange of thought, and creation would be just an unending field of unrelated diversity. Enter what you call intelligence, which is nothing more than thought thinking within itself, and observing itself, observe itself, a spiraling activity. Focused thought thinks itself outward into manifestation. This is a slowing of the vibratory rate at the extended thought to the lowest level at which it can contain its purposeful intent. At that point, the manifested thought can no longer perceive its source. It is in a state of thinking awareness that can now perceive itself and its surrounding environment. In your vernacular, it can no longer clearly remember the nature of its source. So it has forgotten. Since it is projected thought, it must maintain its connection in order to remain in manifestation. Through this connection lies the potentiality of the fragment focusing its own thought purposes purposefully back through this connective energy flow and then begin to, quote, remember what it is, which is again thought, thinking within and upon itself. Since the holographic projection is an extension process of outward movement of thought, the natural inclination is to continue the outward movement through the use, in this scenario, of its sensatory tools to think, in parentheses, observe. Indeed, we could go on for volumes of books to cover the beginning story of this planet and its history of inhabitants. That would take us afield from the purpose of this message. The point is to help you realize that thought, thinking within and upon itself, is commonly experienced by you because it is exactly what you are. Through choice, you create diverse experiences. Through thinking and choosing, each experiences commonly shared situations differently. This is the natural flow of creation within itself. This sounds idealistic when the current situation surrounding you is considered. When multiple human beings or extensions of thought from higher dimensional foci experience interactions of thought from higher dimension. No, sorry. I'm going to stop right there because my little thing did not move. When multiple human beings, and this next is in parentheses, extensions of thought from higher dimensional foci, and now that's the last of that parentheses, experience interactions, combined thought patterns evolve. These thought patterns in movement are something like your breathing process. They expand to a certain point and then relax and contract by returning first to a restive state. Involved within this process, you experience positive and negative polarities, or so you have named them. It is a slow spiraling process, just as your breathing process was intended to assist you in a slow spiraling process. If these are the parameters of experience, then you can begin to perceive that the contraction, relaxation phase of your process in this moment of planetary experience is not in a normal state. It is very distorted indeed. Your intended freedom of thought choice process has been violated. It is layers of thought distortion experiencing contraction that has bypassed the restive point that normally allows for the return to the expansive mode. Hopefully, you can now overlay this understanding upon the planetary experience. If so, you see that in order for the distorted plan to accomplish their moment of beginning, following use of planned chaos, which is to be their field of opportunity to cause a change of polarity, they must allow the resistive point to be reached. Their ideal is to attain this by overwhelming the greater part of the conscious awareness of this planet through a majority of its inhabitants. This is to be teamed with the ending or shifting of a major creative cycle in this galaxy. There exists within their timing and their methodology their greatest weakness. For the contraction of awareness beyond the universal norm, when placed in a momentary rest point, sets up the opportunity for a reactive expansion of major proportion. Carefully placed triggers within the same contracted awareness can ensure expansion. Welcome to the winning side. Focus and manifest indeed. And that's the end of number 25. Wow. I cannot unsee the synchronicities involved in these last 2 recordings that I've done. So that's 4 sessions and some of the things that I've witnessed over the last few days. Wow. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you do, feel free to like and share. Subscribe if you like. This channel is not monetized, never will be, but it will give you the idea of when I release stuff if you really want to know. And if you're interested in doing this as a book study, consciousconversationcentral@gmail.com, and just put in the subject line book study new paradigm. Till next time, I hope that you will always continue to move towards that which brings you joy in each moment that presents itself to you. It really is just a matter of perspective. Be well, my friends.